All right, so this is cool. VantageScore is now accepted by some, I think, pretty sure it's one exclusive lender out there for home mortgages. So, what is VantageScore? What is FICO score? Why is it important to you if you're looking to buy a house, or if you have questions and think that your credit score is either off or not that great? What is VantageScore and how can it help you having a lender that accepts it right now? At first, I was a little hesitant because I felt like there's not going to be that big of a difference. And after seeing a bunch of case studies, I am wrong. So the way that VantageScore and FICO score work, FICO score, let's break it down, was started in the 80s. The three credit bureaus have to follow their scoring model. FICO is essentially like a company, an entity, whatever you want, but they create a lot of the cost. I mean, so do the credit bureaus when it comes to pulling credit. So when they're the only players in the game, FICO, what is their likelihood of saying, yeah, you paid off this debt in collections, or you just got this new credit card and you're not maxing it out right away, or we want to look at other factors like utility bills and other things to see, hey, we trust and will increase your credit score. When they're the only player, it doesn't matter. Now that there's a new player, so the three bureaus created VantageScore, basically an entity that looks at things in a different way. So some of the best ways that it looks at it, and this is where I think a lot of people need to think, and what's nice is the lender that I work with the most that's now exclusively offering this because they're kind of testing it out. They are knocking the VantageScore down by 20 points when they're looking at the score. But after looking at all these case-by-case scenarios, I mean, I've seen ones where someone's middle score was 690, which got one pricing on interest rates. So their payment was a lot higher than VantageScore, which the middle score was 743. So 20 points below is 723. But that interest rate is significantly different. So they saved, I think it was either they were going to save thousands in closing costs or hundreds in their monthly payment. I've seen other ones where they were their middle score was 570, so we couldn't even accept the rate. But with their Vantage score, it put them at I want to say it was like 660. So we got their score at 640. So not only do they qualify conventional, but even like FHA, their rate was so much better. I mean, everyone's a case-by-case scenario, but the reason why VantageScore can be so much better is, one, they look at collections. So FICO, when you would pay off debt that was in collections, they wouldn't really, I mean, they would take a while to improve your credit, and they just didn't really care that much. Some people had to like petition the bureaus to petition FICO to improve that score. I've helped clients do that. Whereas VantageScore, so like I have someone right now that kept telling me, hey, why on my refinance is it saying my credit score is 643? I'm seeing that it's 720. If this was months ago, we would have been able to go with 720, actually knocked down to 700, and he would have got a much better interest rate. Mind you, his rate is still really good because of things we did, but he would have got a much better interest rate. Why? Because he paid off some debt in collections, and VantageScore implements that change immediately, pretty much. I mean, it's what they say. The other thing is the credit utilization and how it weights your credit. So let's say that you've maxed out your credit cards, but you've been making on-time payments. At some point, your FICO score, your credit score will improve. I've done that myself. I've had periods of my life where things just happen, and I had to max out credit cards to pay for bills. And I just wasn't quite in a position where I wanted to stock up savings before I paid them off because I'm self-employed. And I slowly was paying them down. My FICO score would say, hey, your score is going up, but just a little bit. Now, VantageScore, when you have month after month doing that, they recognize that, which they should, and they improve your credit score a lot faster. So there are a lot of people that fit that box. And I think if that is your situation, definitely, and you're wanting to buy, I would definitely talk to someone like me. Then alternative data. So they do look at utility bills. Let's see, we're rent. So like if your apartment or house, you're paying rent through the Built program, I think is probably the only one. No, actually there's quite a few that you have the option to have your on-time rental payments reported. If you're looking for a place to rent, I would choose a place that offers that over other ones. Um, utility bills, and then telecom payments. So telecommunication. I've had clients that they were trying to improve their credit. And so they added Verizon or AT&T, and it just really had no effect on their credit score, or their Vantage score, their score on a different app was showing so much higher. Why? Because it was taking this into account and FICO wasn't when we ran their credit. So that was a big shocker. And then younger credit history. So VantageScore, pretty immediately when you get a credit card and you start using it, they're going to start factoring that into your credit score. Whereas FICO would take a lot longer to factor that in. Now, doesn't mean, I would say for people who are building their credit, that's huge, because I've had people that, they have all the telecom, the rent, but they have never had debt. And even just adding a credit card and using it, it would take like, I don't know. I've seen 3 or 4 months before we finally saw an improvement or a credit history that we could actually use. Whereas Vantage will report it pretty much right away. As in, like, you use it, it may take like a month later. A lot of this is still somewhat new. The nice thing with this lender is they'll run both at the same time for you so that you can see, hey, which one's better. So if I'm looking at it and I say, which statistically VantageScore has been better, VantageScore is better. Even if I could qualify with just my FICO score, if your Vantage score shows significantly higher, even knocking down 20 points, which is what they have to do right now because it's a new test with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, it can give you a much better interest rate and save you on payment. So if you've talked to someone in the past and you thought, oh, I didn't qualify, or that payment was too high, and they told you a credit score that wasn't perfect, like they said, hey, your credit score came back at this and it wasn't 800, and you're interested in buying and seeing, one, rates have been dropping the last couple of days. So I would definitely talk to someone like me, but two, you may get a much better interest rate. Shoot, the same lender is even offering free, what they call a 1.0 buy down. So a temporary rate buy down. So your first 12 months of payments, you get 1% less in like your payment. For every 100,000, I did the math. It's usually, depending on where rates are at, anywhere from $60 to $63 a month in savings for every 100,000. So you're looking at $500,000 purchase price, 5 times 60 or 63. That's how much you'd save for the first 12 months of payments. So I think there's just a lot of options out there. There's a lot of companies right now and agencies that are trying to make things easier and more doable for buyers. So I would definitely start reaching out and try to get some more information, dig a little deeper. If you want any help or have any questions for someone like me, feel free to give me a call or send me an email, schedule time with my team, whatever works best for you.